Brittany Berardi from YouTube. Can they challenge, meaning the parties, can they challenge the juror's decision based on bias? Now, from either side, is that a possibility?
No. I think at the end of the day, everyone wants, after this verdict, once it comes out, everyone wants to be done with this. I think Johnny Depp got what he wanted. He got a trial set out in public. He redeemed his career. It seems like Amber Heard, I think she wants this to be done as well. I think this will be the last we ever hear of this.
Okay, so let me go to Maura Hewitt from YouTube. Janine, let me go to you on this because I know you know the answer to this because you've been with me when we were discussing it. Johnny's here in the UK. Miss Hewitt's obviously in the UK. Is Amber in court?
So rumor has it that Amber is going to be in court today. And I think that's also why the judge gave us the notice of how she was going to do the actual verdict. So what she had said was, once we know that there's a verdict, it'll go to the next top of the hour and 1 hour from there, which allows Amber Heard to get back to the courthouse. So we know Johnny's going to watch live from the UK, but I have a feeling that Amber Heard will be in the courthouse.
And let's go back to you, Nima Haddadi. Okay, you can see these are fabulous questions from our viewers. Keep them coming because we're here to answer your questions until the verdict is read in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp case at 3 p.m. The question is from Carson Doxey from YouTube. What happens if the judge doesn't agree with the decision of the jury? And this is really a terrific question because most people don't understand the process or know the process.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is the jury's decision. Other than if there's any issues with the decision not coming out properly, if there's any misconduct, I think this is the jury's decision to make, which is great for both parties.
Nima, let me just follow up on that. What would be the standard for the judge to overturn a jury verdict? And usually we see it in we can see it in criminal cases. It seldom happens, but we can see it. So what would be the standard here in a civil case if the judge decided she wanted to overturn this jury verdict?
I think it needs to be something that's really, really bad. I don't think there needs to be some type of proof that there was some type of misconduct. Which we haven't heard anything about, especially in the short time that the jury has been deliberating. I'm confident that we're not going to have any of that.
All right. And then we have a great question from India. As you know, our viewers on the Law and Crime Network are everywhere. They're around the world. They're in the United States. But more importantly, they're focused here at the Law and Crime Network watching and waiting for the verdict that's going to be at 3 p.m. today on this channel. So let me ask you, Janine. Our viewers is Mir Adil from India. Says it's midnight here. Can both parties lose the case? If such happens, can there be a penalty on both? Who should benefit?
So both parties can lose this case. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I mean, I don't think it's likely, but remember, there's Johnny Depp's claim where he's saying that he was defamed, and there's 3 counts on that. And they could come back and say he wasn't defamed. And then there's her rebuttal regarding the Walden comments. And, they can come back and say that that wasn't, defamation. So both of them could lose. I think it's highly, highly unlikely that that's going to happen in this case.
And after they've tried this case for a period of time. But we'll see. Okay, we're reading the tea leaves. Nima Haddadi, again, you're the former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney. This is a question from Vince Clortho from YouTube. Do you think either party will say anything to a jury to the jury, not a jury, our jury, via a video put out by their lawyers? And this is a great question because we know that the public relations machines are working overtime here. What say you?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I think that both parties are going to thank the jury for their time, court staff. We've heard rumors about a Johnny Depp party if he wins. Everything's on the table, but 100%, I think both parties will be thanking the jurors for their service and time.
And Janine, let me come back to you now on these just most fabulous questions from our viewers as we wait for that verdict to be read in court at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in the East Coast in Virginia. This is from Maria Reyes of YouTube. Could the judge reject an appeal if they found that the person appealing lied at the first trial?
Well, again, there's got to be grounds for an appeal. So a judge can reject an appeal by finding that there's no grounds for it. And again, so I think a lot of people are thinking that Amber lied on the stand, and there's a lot of this talk on social media, but that's not necessarily going to come into play here. If it was found that this was improper evidence that was put forward and they lied that way, I think that you would have the grounds. But again, I don't think it's as clear cut as everybody on social media thinks it. I think that Amber Heard believes what she says.
All right, and Nima, I have two great questions. I'm going to pose actually both to you in order, but let me just remind our viewers that Johnny Depp had sued the Sun in Britain because they called him a wife beater, and he lost that case. But the process in Britain is very different than it is here, especially when you're suing a publication, a news publication, for actual malice, because they're relying on information they get. And also hearsay is allowed. Anjanette Levy has gone through this with our viewers. Not only is hearsay allowed, but the Sun actually does the questioning. It begins like with cross-examination. So it's a much different process. And the case here in the United States was a much different case. Having said that, one of our viewers asks, Ilya Crane on YouTube, if Johnny wins, will the Sun have to print a retraction?
No, I don't think so. I think it's different countries, different laws. I don't think the two have anything to do with each other.
All right, let me follow that up then with a question, and it's on the same issue from Angela Livingstone on YouTube, Nima. Can Johnny Depp challenge the previous court case against the Sun newspaper for calling him a wife beater? Remember, they said he couldn't appeal, but can he now, with this new information, should he win this case, challenge that previous decision in some way in the UK?
No, I don't think he can. I think it was a final decision. I don't think he can go back. I don't think he has any other remedies in terms of appeal. I think he's stuck with that decision, and I think he's okay with that. I think he'll be more than happy if he was to come out with a favorable decision here. He already won the court of public opinion. I think he's going to want to be done with all of this. He walked away a lot better than he was before.
And Jeannie, let me ask you one other question before we take a look back at the trial. This is from the United Arab Emirates. Again, our viewers are everywhere waiting for that verdict here at the Law and Crime Network at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time right here. We will stream it to you live when it happens. But the question is from the United Arab Emirates. It's A from YouTube. We don't use the jury system here. So what are the criteria of selecting the panel of the jury?
So what happens is there'll be, so you actually get a letter in the mail. I've never gotten one, but you get a letter in the mail telling you to appear for jury duty. And what happens is you'll go on to different selections, and then the attorneys will conduct voir dire, which is where they're going to ask you questions, and sometimes you actually get questionnaires. And so what they're going to do is flush out anybody who may have a bias, or anyone who can't, who's got an opinion, who knows about the case ahead of time, or who can't listen to the evidence and determine it from the evidence, so that they can't have any preconceived notion. And so what happens is, depending on the jurisdiction, so here we're in Fairfax County, Virginia, it's 7 people. They state 7 people and 2 alternates, just in case something happens, so we're not starting over this 6-week trial all over again. And that's basically how you get on jury duty.
And that's a good reason not to get out of jury duty either, because you get to do your public service and see all kinds of cases. Well, while we wait for that verdict that's going to occur right here at the Law and Crime Network at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, all right, let's take a little look back, memory lane of the trial. And this is Camille Vasquez. She's become sort of a superstar after her cross-examination of Amber Heard in this trial and her direct examination of Johnny Depp. She, in opening statements, promised the jury that they would get to know Johnny Depp through this trial. Let's see what she told them way back when.
Over the course of this trial, you're going to have an opportunity to get to know Johnny Depp. Not the characters he's portrayed, but the man himself. You will hear from Mr. Depp directly, but you will also hear from his friends, his family, and employees. You will hear from people who have known him for decades. They have seen him at his best, and they have seen him at his worst. And they will tell you, each of them, that he is a kind soul, who have never and would never raise a hand to a woman.
Well, we have gotten to know Johnny Depp, and Amber Heard said the reason why we know him and what we should look for is in that famous kitchen cabinet video where he was slamming the cabinets that she took, you know, the one that was released to TMZ. So why don't we look at that?
That's like he said, he's not hurting her, he can't his own shit. In his house, he got 15 of them.
Happened. What happened?
You can go to jail for tearing up your own shit? I doubt it. But you can go to jail for smacking the phone out the wall. They call that domestic.
Nothing happened this morning, you know that?
You didn't hear it?
No.
So then nothing happened to you this morning.
Yeah, you're right. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We were not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you this morning? I don't think so.
No, that's the thing.
You want to see crazy? I'll give you everything. That's crazy. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're crazy.
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, you got this going. Got this going?
I just started it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? So you got
No, didn't. You were smashing.
Okay, so did we get to know Johnny Depp? Did the jury get to know Johnny Depp? Well, we'll see in the answers when they read their verdict here on the Law and Crime Network at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Yes, there is a verdict in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, and we'll be showing it to you live. We'll be in that courtroom at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, just about 25 minutes from now. All right. But let's go to your questions because they're absolutely fabulous. This one is from Germany. Again, we have viewers everywhere across the world, across the United States. It's from Justified Me on YouTube. What happens if Johnny wins, but Amber hasn't got the money to pay him? Nima Haddadi, let me throw that to you.
There's going to be a judgment. It's going to haunt her for all of eternity. I don't think she's going to be able to pay back a very large settlement. So if she buys any property or anything that she does, that judgment will always be hanging over her. It's going to be bad.
Well, let me follow up with that, Janina Tanium. Can she discharge this in something called bankruptcy? If there were, we're getting ahead of ourselves, assuming there were a verdict and it was a monetary amount, could she discharge it in bankruptcy and get away from it?
I think she could discharge this in bankruptcy. Again, she's not going to be able to pay this and it's going to hang over her head. But the other thing is she's also, in a situation, there's a petition to have her removed from Aquaman. Her part was cut down way back. I think she shelved at L'Oreal. She doesn't even have the means to make money as it seems right now to pay off a judgment. So it's a really, really dire position for her to be in. And, because of that situation, she may have to claim bankruptcy for other reasons.
Okay, Nima Haddadi, let me go to a question from Nancy McKinley on YouTube. And this is an interesting question. Do you think Amber Heard's attorneys will face any backlash to their careers, practices from this trial? Now, before you answer that, let me just say, we've heard that, people send nasty messages, people send threats to everybody participating in this case. That is a no-no. Having been in that position where somebody posted on Twitter once, one of my clients with a bullet hole through her head and fake blood. Really, you don't need that. The reason why we have trials is so that people can get to the truth and justice can be served. We don't need that kind of nonsense. But let's talk about this, Nima, because it is a question that perhaps maybe people are concerned about.
Yeah. Can there be backlash? Yes, of course. But at the end of the day, this is a very unique trial. It's out in the public. There's a lot of pressure. It's not the best case for Amber Heard's team. Nonetheless, they're doing their best. it's easy for us all to criticize when we're on the outside, not in. But I think they're doing great. I think at the end, they're all going to walk away unscathed, and I think their careers will benefit from this for sure.
And we have a lot of questions, Janine, but I want to go to one that actually relates to the video we just saw, since it's fresh in everyone's mind. Okay. If Amber Heard did not give TMZ the rights to the video, and this is from SLBJPB YouTube, if Amber Heard did not give TMZ the rights to the video, why is she not suing them for copyright infringement?
Well, that's a very good question. She says that she hasn't tipped TMZ off, but maybe she's given this to somebody who did, because they've got to verify. When they get these videos, there's steps that they take before they publish it. Going back to that video, though, as much as it's bad for Johnny Depp because, he's slamming around and he's, drinking wine in the morning, it's also bad for her because she doesn't look like she's afraid. She's taping him. She seems to be goading him. So, I had this conversation with someone the other day. To me, like living with somebody like Johnny Depp who's smashing up the kitchen in the morning and breaking things and kicking the counters, it's an abusive environment. It's a hostile environment. But that's to me. When you look at her, she seems to almost be like laughing about it, goading him, asking him questions, taping him. It doesn't come across as good for her, especially since, the argument is that she was the one who was the aggressor and she was the one who was the abuser, and these were his reactions to the abuse he suffered at her hands.
And Nima, let me follow up with that. An additional question, the ones you've answered, from Asif Cameron on YouTube. What will happen if Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, depending on who wins, if they win a monetary judgment, fail to pay any defamation monies and other damages awarded? That it assumes, number one, that there's going to be an award and somebody will win. But let's assume that for the moment. What will happen if they fail to pay?
I think there could be court sanctions. It depends on what the attorneys want to do. Johnny Depp has said from day one, it's not really about the money for me. I think what he was looking for was court of public opinion, and he won that. I don't think he's going to try to risk that with maybe being petty or going aggressively after her if she can't pay. But who knows? With this case, who knows?
Who knows? Well, we're going to know at 3 o'clock today, Eastern Daylight Time. You'll be watching us at the Law and Crime Network when the jury in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, Amber Heard Johnny Depp case, announces their verdict to the world that has been watching. In the meantime, again, let's take a trip down memory lane. We showed you Camille Vasquez last time. Let's look at a little clip from the trial where Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Brenderhoff, during the opening statements, promised certain things to the jury, and you'll decide whether she delivered. Let's listen.
Now, there were several people that were supposed to go to Johnny's Island, Bahamas Island, in December for Christmas. He was going to bring his 2 kids. He had invited Amber's parents, who loved Johnny, and unfortunately her father used to drink and do drugs with Johnny a lot. And he was also going to take Rocky, her friend who lived next door in a penthouse, and her fiance, and Rocky's parents. Imagine being able to go to a Bahamas Island for Christmas. What a cool thing to do. But they all were so upset what he did to Amber on December 15. They said, no, we're not going. We're not gonna condone this. We're not going. But he talked Amber into going. He guilted her into going. I'm gonna be with my kids. Please come. I'll be better. I'm gonna get better. Amber went. And then he ends up assaulting her even there, and sexually assaults her even there. Now, you'll see a video from them of the Bahamas, the place that they stayed in on his island. And the video just conveniently leaves out the wardrobe in the bathroom where he committed the assault. He just goes around and makes it look like it's a one room and his kids were there, and there's no way they could have done that. But you'll hear the testimony and you'll see the pictures.
Okay, trip down memory lane. But let me tell you what's not down memory lane. That is the activity outside the courthouse. You see it happening right there. Our own reporters, Anjanette Levy and Stacey Delicat, who were here this morning, been at the courthouse all day. They will be in the courtroom when that verdict is read. We will be streaming it to you live. And if anything happens outside that courthouse or inside that courthouse, we will tell you about it, because you'll be here watching the Law and Crime Network. 3 p.m., the verdict will be read. But you have to stay with us now, because in trials, you never know who you'll see pulling up to that courthouse, getting ready for that verdict. But in the meantime, let's go to some of your questions as we're looking at the courthouse there. And this was one that I'll answer. It's from Sierra Cook. can you please answer this? Because a lot of people are curious. Can Amber Heard be charged with perjury for lying under oath, changing her story a number of times? Well, generally in civil cases, prosecutors don't charge people in perjury. There's an exception, for instance, maybe in the federal government when it involves a governmental employee, because they have a lot of things to do with their time, such as shootings and murders and all. If the judge were to make a referral and say there's direct evidence that somebody, for instance, changed evidence or intentionally falsified evidence, that could be a different story. But generally, the likelihood of her being charged with perjury is not very great. Number one, you first have to find out that she lied, and we don't even know she may win this case. We're going to see at 3 o'clock today. But let me bring my guests back into this. Nima Haddadi, criminal defense attorney, and Janina Tamian, also a trial attorney. Again, we have viewers from around the United States and around the world. This is from Summy Flynn on YouTube from Ireland. Janine, let me go to you on this. Will Amber Heard be able to sue if she loses? And I guess that means sue Johnny Depp for additional damages, sue who? What do you think?
So I'm not really sure what the question is. I mean, are they wondering if she could then bring a different claim against Johnny Depp? I think that, again, that the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are going to want to put this behind them. I don't think Amber Heard's going to sue with regard to this particular matter ever again. I think that, she's been on the stand. She's had to deal with a lot of really humiliation on the stand. She's had to deal with being trolled on social media, terrible things being said about her child. I don't think that she's going to do that at all if she is not successful.
And Nima, let me go to you with our next question. This is from Johnny Solar on YouTube. And he says, if Johnny Depp hadn't lost the libel case in the UK against The Sun, do you think he'd still have filed this defamation case against Amber? And when you answer that, Nima, remember that he filed this case somewhere in early 2019 after the article was published in 2018. But would he have continued on with this suit if he hadn't lost his case in The Sun?
Yeah, I think Johnny Depp wanted to get his story out. He wanted to, his career had just taken a nosedive, he wanted to just prove his innocence in the court of public opinion. And that's what he did through this trial. He got to show the real Amber Heard. He got to show the real Johnny Depp. He got to take responsibility for a lot of the mistakes. And I think this is why the trial is turning out the way that it did. I think people like and they admire what he's doing.
And I'll answer the next one. Valerie Torres of YouTube, can we watch the verdict from here? Absolutely. What you're seeing right now is right outside the courthouse in Fairfax, Virginia, live, where Stacey Delicat from the Long Crime Network and Angela Levy are there. We will bring you anything we see, and you have to watch that. You will be playing this in the background. If anything happened, if the lawyers drive up, you'll be able to see it here first on the Long Crime Network while we wait for that verdict to be announced at 3 p.m. inside the courtroom. So, Janina Tamian, Lindsay Lauter of Facebook. Does it look bad that Depp will not be in court for the reading of the verdict? Now, let me just tell you, Janine, and our viewers, that should there be press conferences, whether they be from here or England or anywhere by the Johnny Depp or Amber Heard teams, we will bring them to you live here at the Long Crime Network. So the reading of the verdict is not the end of this. We will stay with it and we'll see what happens because we know you want to see what happens. But Janine, let me go to you to answer that specific question from Lindsay Lauter.
So I've discussed this before, and I think that it's a really bad look for Johnny Depp not to be at the courthouse for the verdict. But Gene Rossi said something in an earlier segment that, stuck out even more with me. He said, by him not being here for the verdict, it's an insult to the taxpayers of Fairfax. And he was specifically wanting to file his suit here for specific, more favorable defamation rules. And it's also an insult to the jurors who, came and listened to, 6 weeks out of their lives, deliberated, and came back with a verdict. So I think it's a bad look. They're saying that he had previous engagements doing this music tour. However, he's not listed on there, so I don't know if I believe that. And again, I think that he should have, out of respect for the judicial system, out of respect for the judge, the jury, and, Fairfax County, he should have been in court today to hear the verdict.
Wow. Even though the jury is not supposed to be watching, but we all know that Yeah, but we all think that maybe juries, not this one, because this one is very ethical, but some juries may watch. Nima Haddadi, let me just go back to you. This is a first-time chat. Thank you from Twitch, first-time chatter. Andrew Body, thank you for watching the Law and Crime Network, and I know you're going to stay with us as we telecast that verdict live from inside that courtroom at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But the question is this. If this is ruled, in other words, if the jury comes back with a verdict in favor of Depp, what implications are there for future defamation and freedom of speech cases?
I don't think there's much. I don't think that this is a precedent-setting trial. I think what's happening here is the press and everything that it's getting. You have two of them, one of the most famous people on the planet, and his wife. We're getting intimate details of the inner workings, and you get to see that even actors and actresses have real life problems, that's the biggest thing about this case. I don't think there's going to be any type of precedent or anything of that nature being said.
Well, I want to bring you back as we still show you on screen for the moment until we get there. The audio of Depp versus Heard arguing that Bahamas trip. That's the one that Elaine Bernhoff mentioned in her opening statement where she says there was a sexual assault. Amber Heard says it was sexual assault by Johnny Depp. Why don't we listen to the audio of them that was played in the courtroom?
What things have you been doing?
Working on this thing. I've been trying to change. Last several times.
Hence, screaming when I spilled wine accidentally on you for falling asleep and screaming in front of my kids and freaking Jack out. And that's trying.
You don't appreciate it. Yeah, you're right. You're right, John.
That up,
I'm sorry.
It weirded him out. It never.
I'm so sorry. I fucked this up.
Didn't my kids up, but it was pretty. It was pretty weird from you.
Because I jumped up and screamed at that one. You're right. I'm surprised he's. So I'm for the counselor. I'm sure that's terrible.
I don't need your
No, wait, poor kid.
your clever
It's not against me, but
comebacks. No,
Your
you think you're controlling yourself.
character.
You think you're controlling
Your
yourself.
character has become so clear, especially when you use them. It's embarrassing for you. I'm gonna walk away now because you're actually making me seem even worse. And believing me, I'm not gonna be calling at 3 o'clock in the morning after having an Ambien and think I'm gonna just forgive and move on. Trust me, it's gross. I use your kids. I've done nothing but be there for them in a good way. And if you take that for granted, fine. Fine. You're a woman who would not jump up and scream if she had been spoken on 3 times in a row. And I hope you're happy with whoever that is, because that would be a special kind of person.
And let me just ask you right now, let me just tell you right now, we do have a verdict in that Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial. It will be read at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Our own reporters are on the scene. As a matter of fact, I'm going to actually toss to one of them right now, and that's not just one of them, that's one of the best. The Stacey Delicat, she is on the scene. She's actually going to take over anchoring as that verdict is read, and I will be here to continue to answer your questions through the afternoon. But here, don't move away from the Law and Crime Network. Stacey.
Linda, thank you for that kind introduction. Couldn't do it without you back there helping us out with all of your great insight. Time is 2:49 Eastern Time. We're about 11 minutes away from when the judge said the verdict would be read. We know this is a judge who keeps things on time. She sticks to schedule, so you can expect very likely sometime in the next 10 minutes that live picture is going to go up in the courtroom. The judge is going to call the jury in. She is going to ask the foreperson, how did they find find on the various counts here, and then we will find out whether there will be any judgments, so on and so forth. But let me set the scene for you outside the courthouse here. If we can put up our shot from outside the front of the court, obviously a huge amount of media. Everyone is set up and ready to go. We've got the podium outside the courthouse. As soon as the verdict comes in and everyone starts to stream out, we'll be getting interviews live on the air. But we've also seen a lot of the fans, a lot of the spectators who are here for the duration of the trial. Well, they've all been watching our coverage. They've all been watching all the online commentary. They knew in the 1 o'clock hour when we said we'd reached a verdict, they heard, they got in their cars and they headed over here. And so what we're seeing outside the courthouse is more fans showing up, Johnny Depp fans with signs, perhaps some Amber Heard signs as well. There are people who brought lawn chairs that are set up outside waiting to watch the action. And you can see, as I said now, that crowd growing outside. Ann Jeanette has gone inside the court to get inside the courtroom to be in position for when the verdict's read. Of course, she's going to have all of the reaction from inside. And what I can also tell you, I snuck up there just a few minutes ago before coming back out here, and it was starting to get pretty crowded up there. This was not the scene today that we had seen the last 6 weeks when people were getting here in the middle of the night to line up for bracelets. No, there were bracelets, these blue bracelets, which you need to get to the courtroom. They were available as late as 8:30, 9 o'clock. So you can imagine some people were able to come later in the day, snag these wristbands, which gets them access to the courtroom or the overflow room inside. I can tell you a lot of the people that I saw were not members of the media. They were just fans, spectators, interested people. There was like a mother up there with a young child going in to get a seat in the courtroom. So it's going to be a packed courtroom for sure when the verdict comes in just a few minutes. What else can I tell you out here? Well, again, Amber Heard is expected to be here. In fact, one of our producers is standing by to give us an update as to when her car arrives. It should be very soon if it hasn't already arrived, because we are getting close to 3 o'clock. The big question is, Johnny Depp going to be here? No. Ann Jeanette Levy confirmed earlier this afternoon with Johnny Depp's team that he will not be returning from the UK. As you know, as we've been telling you, he flew out there over the weekend after closings wrapped up on Friday. He surprised fans at the Jeff Beck concert in England on Sunday night, and then did another show on Monday night and last night in London at the Royal Albert Hall, much to fans' delights. Kate Moss was even in the audience last night. According to the British tabloids, he invited her to come to the show, and they were even seen spending some time together backstage before she was photographed leaving the theater. Kate Moss, of course, one of the high-profile witnesses to testify in this trial in its last week. You can even perhaps hear in the background helicopters right now. There are helicopters up above, local news helicopters getting the pictures of the crowds gathering outside of the courthouse right now. Again, we were told Johnny Depp is not going to be back from the UK. He will be watching the verdict over there, perhaps performing the next few nights, because we know Jeff Beck has several other concerts scheduled through the weekend in the UK. Earlier, we saw both legal teams inside. Just about 10 minutes ago, I saw part of Depp's security team go inside. These are people who have been in the courtroom every day as this trial has gone on. They are all taking their places inside right now, waiting for this to get underway. I mean, Linda, you've watched this closely the whole time, just as close as anyone. And am I right that, right around 3 o'clock sharp, we're going to see something happen because this judge likes to stick to schedule?
She is absolutely a purist. She wants to schedule. She has probably told the jurors that they're coming right out of 3 to get their belongings ready. And yes, we will have that verdict right here at the Long Time Network, Stacey. Absolutely.
So here's a good question that came in from someone's goat, love that name, on YouTube. She said, are we ever going to see the jury, or are they never going to be shown for their protection? Linda, we wouldn't see the jury. Tell our viewers.
Yes, we don't get to see juries in the United States of America. We kind of protect our identity in the courtroom. And I'm looking at the courtroom right now, Stacey, and looking at the picture of the attorneys all seated. I think that's Amber Heard in the courtroom. I really can't tell. But yes, the judges also entered an order and said that the jurors' names will not be released publicly, at least by the state of Virginia, for 1 year. That does not mean the jurors can't identify themselves. They could actually have their own press conference. They can talk to the media. They can self-identify. It's just that the state of Virginia will not release their names unless there's some reason to do so earlier, before 1 year.
We have two other guests with us, of course, still with us. Hey, Mike Corbanics, law and crime analyst, joining us, as well as Nima Rahmani. Okay, I take it back. It's a little chaotic with the helicopters going above. Okay, Nima Ramani is still with us. We had an interesting question earlier, which I think it's good to remind viewers of because we have so many more people tuning in now, which is, are there any restrictions on the jurors after this case is done, after they deliver their verdict and the judgment? Can they write a book? Can they sell their notes, someone said? Are there any restrictions on the jury?
Linda? Stacy, no, there are no restrictions on that. The only thing they can't do is with the notes. They will not get their note backs, okay? They will not get their notes back. Those get stayed by the court and they get destroyed. Now, they can redo their notes so they went home every night and write what they remembered and therefore sell maybe those, the recollections. But with regard to anything else, they can talk freely. They have a First Amendment right to talk freely. All that can happen is you can't harass them as a lawyer. You can't go and harass them. No one should be harassing a jury anyhow. But they're free to talk and they're free to publish.
Okay, so, and some very well might. This is a very high profile case where there has been a lot of interest. I mean, right now, we've got about 1.5 million of you tuning into our YouTube channel. So thank you for sticking with Law and Crime for this and for these key moments. Again, you're looking at a live picture inside the courtroom right now where everyone is assembled, just about 4 minutes to go until 3 o'clock when we expect to see the judge come in and call the jury in for the reading of this verdict. Linda, we know there are a bunch of questions. There were a bunch of points on the special verdict form. How long do you think this will take?
Well, you're going to get a feel right away because I have the special verdict form from Johnny Depp right in front of us because our producers are just so great in getting it. I also have the one for Amber Heard. The jury form is about 4 pages long. It will go pretty fast. It won't be longer than 10 minutes right here, and maybe less. If they find no calls of action, for instance, on 1A, if they answer to, do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation on that first quotation regarding sexual violence, then they don't answer the other questions. They go right to number 2. And if they don't find that, the likelihood is they won't find for him on any of them. And the same with Amber Heard. So it's going to be under 10 minutes, Stacey.
Okay, that's good to know. And just a reminder of viewers, what we expect to happen here, this just takes 10 to 15 minutes. The jurors, once they're let back in the jury room, they'll later be dismissed, but we expect the legal teams for both sides will come out and give some remarks. Other players in this as well. Unclear whether anyone will hear anything from Amber Heard immediately after this. And by the way, if you look on the screen, she is seated there in the courtroom awaiting the verdict with the rest of us. An interesting question that we got from Haley Howell on Facebook. Has the judge already heard the verdict, or will she be hearing it for the first time when we do as well? Janine, do you want to take that one? Okay. Janine has left us. We thank her for her time. Linda, the judge is going to hear the verdict just when we do, right?
Stacey, I'm sorry. I thought Nima was going to feel that one, but I'll feel it. Yes,
Nima, please take it, Nima. Guys, I'm out here in our Studio A. It's hot. It's humid. I can't see all of you in the monitor. So, Nima, please, will the judge be hearing the verdict for the first time when we do?
The judge is going to get to see it, I guess, maybe 30, 45 seconds before, and then at that point, yeah. So the judge will know right before we will.
Okay, so this is all kind of happening in real time, off the cuff here, and the judge will be finding out, barely any time before the rest of us. Sarah Wilson on YouTube asked, are they going to show the courtroom when it's being read? Yes, Sarah, that's what you're seeing now on your screen is a live picture of the courtroom. You see the attorneys there, you see Johnny Depp's attorneys there, you see Amber's attorneys, and you see Amber herself. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, because we have new people logging on every minute as we get closer and closer, literally 1 minute away from 3 o'clock. Johnny Depp, we have been told by sources close to him, obviously is not going to be here. He's not there now. He is still in the UK after doing a series of surprise performances with Jeff Beck. He is expected to stay there. His team said that he had prior commitments in the UK and he will be watching the verdict from there. We'll see whether he issues any kind of comment, video statement. We just don't know what we'll hear from him, but we do expect we will hear from his legal team as soon as this is over. And again, our camera's outside of the courtroom on standby where we have seen crowds growing, supporters, and so forth as we get ready for this verdict to be read. It is about 3 o'clock. All right, are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Just for everybody in the gallery, reminder this is a court of law. And regardless of the verdict, I will not tolerate any outbursts whatsoever. Okay? Thank you.
Here we go.
If I could have the attorney's approach for a moment.
Stop trying to put it in clothes, bro. Stop putting it in clothes. Who cares? Just stop. Logan, I'm getting 2v1, bro. Because you're not helping me.
All right, again, you're looking live in. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what I need you to do, I need to give the forms back to you. When you find a defamatory statement, one or more, you need to fill out the compensatory damages. It has to be at least $1 for compensatory damages and up to whatever you feel the damages should be. Back to the operation room and do that for me, okay? All right, so we'll be in recess till we hear back from them. Don't go too far, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, just as we were telling you, this could wrap up in just about 10 minutes by 3:10, 3:15. Not so fast. There was a little sidebar going on with the attorneys in the front. Apparently, the jurors didn't fill out the damages section. The judge now sending them back to complete this special verdict form, literally like a worksheet that they need to fill out. They didn't put in the damages. Linda, what do you make of that?
Well, Stacey, means somebody won this case, that somebody won their defamation claims, right? Now, the fact that they didn't fill out the compensatory damages award, I think may bode well for Johnny Depp. The judge said it has to be at least $1. Usually you see if somebody wins, you have to fill out an award. Either that or somehow they both won, which I don't think is likely. But he was the one that didn't ask for damages, if you recall. He said, I'm not seeking damages. She asked for, I think it was $350,000 damages. So it sounds like someone won. It could be Johnny Depp because the jury may have telegraphed it by not filling out an award for damages. But under the law, at least has to be $1.
Right. So maybe they missed that instruction and just figured, oh, we're not awarding damages, so we're going to leave it blank.
That's right. That's what it could sound like.
Now, in the very unlikely event that they just forgot to do that section and they actually did intend for some kind of damages, we had a question from viewers earlier, which is what happens if there's a verdict, say, against Amber Heard, and there's a judgment awarded for Johnny Depp, and Amber Heard doesn't have that money, whether it's $50 million, whether it's $20 million, whether it's $10 million. What happens if she doesn't have that money, Linda?
Well, we have that in many civil cases where the person that gets the verdict, they don't have, the defendant doesn't have the money, right? You can pursue her. It could be a claim that follows her around for the rest of her life. With it gets docketed, it gets logged. She could discharge it in bankruptcy, assuming it's against her. We're making a lot of assumptions. Maybe it's against him and it's $1. Who knows? But the likelihood is that with $1 verdict, the jury may just want to be sending a message for whoever wins. And again, we're assuming it's Johnny Depp, but it also could be Amber Heard because she was seeking damages. Maybe they found for her, but not giving him damages. We just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. I mean, this should be relatively quick, I would think, right? For them, if they've already decided on this and it was just an oversight that they didn't put anything in or didn't know that they had to write something. So they hopefully will be back in a few minutes. As we've been telling our viewers and more are turning in, the verdict has not been read yet. Just to bring everyone up to speed, here's what happened. Right at 3 o'clock on the dot, the judge, she is very punctual. She came into the courtroom. Everyone stood up. She brought in the jury. There was a little sidebar between the attorneys up in front. They were looking and they said, oh, guys, jurors, you didn't fill out the compensatory damages. You didn't fill that part out. There's nothing here. You have to go back to the jury room and fill this out. And so the jury was sent back out to take care of that, and that's what we're waiting for at this point. Again, Amber Heard, as you can see, is there in the courtroom with her attorneys. Johnny Depp is not here. His team having told us that because of prior commitments in the UK, which we know to be shows, he's playing music with Jeff Beck. He will be watching the verdict from the UK. So who knows? Maybe he's watching our coverage. If so, Johnny, call us. We want to do an interview with you as soon as this is all over. Linda, any final predictions here as we wait for word?
Well, it's very interesting with this possible $1 worth of damages. Now, I have a question here, Stacey. I wonder if the teams know who the verdict was for, because remember, the judge brought them to the bench. They were looking through the verdict form. She obviously had to tell them that there was a verdict in favor of someone, but has to send them back for damages. We can't see the form, so we can't see the body language or what's
interesting.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
I wonder whether they know who's won and who is lost, Stacey.
And if they did perhaps see that, I mean, would that be an issue? Would there be any sort of violation of rules or any ethics issues if they saw it before it was read out publicly in court?
Absolutely. Quite frankly, they have a right to see it and to tell their clients. So no, there's no violation. They have to know when the jury has filled out the forms, and they have to know is there a problem, because the judge has to tell them what she is going to do so they can either lodge an objection or not lodge an objection. And again, could they have just forgotten to fill it out? They may not have known that you just give $1 compensatory damages. Maybe it wasn't in the instructions. Quite frankly, I don't remember seeing it, but we should have one of our legal, fabulous people here that go through everything with a fine-tooth comb again to see whether there was an instruction about whether or not you had to award a compensatory damage of $1 if somebody wins.
Let me set the scene for those who are just tuning in. You're looking at a picture live outside the Fairfax County Courthouse here, where you see the crowds are growing. If you can hear in the audio behind me, there are helicopters circling up and above. Local news helicopters taking pictures of the crowds. It was just, I think, gosh, I'm losing track already, but around 1:30 when we got word that a verdict was going to be read at 3 o'clock. At that point, it was basically just media hanging out outside, trying to keep cool. As soon as we found out the verdict was coming, well, quickly, all the media assembled in their spots, and we started to see more and more cars pull up, into the parking lot, more fans come outside. Obviously, more people go inside the courtroom. You have to have one of these special wristbands in order to be in the courtroom or the overflow room. And now we see a much bigger crowd, which is probably going to continue to grow over the next few minutes. It's possible, since we now know that Johnny Depp is not coming, that some of the fans who were hoping to catch a glimpse after the verdict was read, decided to sit it out because they know he's not here. Again, Amber Heard is there inside of the courtroom with her legal team. Unclear whether she'll make any kind of statement afterwards. As you can see in that picture outside the courtroom, there is a live picture. There is a podium rather set up with all the microphones. So as soon as the verdict's read and the legal teams come out and the other key players come out, we are going to be getting that reaction to you, those responses to you live. A little bit of behind the scenes info here. Our own Aunt Jeanette has just stepped outside, so she's going to join me in just a second to give me the lowdown on what's going on inside, what the timeline is here, when we could see the jury back in the courtroom. But again, if you're just joining us, we were supposed to have the verdict read right at 3 o'clock. The judge did call the jury into the room right at 3 o'clock. Johnny Depp's legal team was there. Amber Heard and her legal team were sitting in there. But they looked at the paperwork. They looked at this special jury form, and someone said, oh, the judge said, oh, you guys forgot to fill out something pretty crucial here because the damages page was left blank. And the attorneys had a little sidebar, and then the judge sent the jury back to fill in the damages. Aunt Jeanette just sat down next to me. Aunt Jeanette, tell me what's going on in there. What was the vibe? What's going on?
Well, I think the vibe was, everybody, we're told that we're not allowed to talk to anybody in there, which, we're news people, so, and we're just human beings,
Right.
so it's really difficult, so we got kind of shushed. But it was interesting because it was kind of heavy, like, Amber Heard walked in, she kind of greeted her attorneys, wearing a black dress. Her hair kind of pulled back loosely. This is different from a lot of the times we've seen her come in with the braids. I couldn't see whether she smiled or anything like that, but she came in. Obviously, we know Johnny Depp had previously scheduled concerts with Jeff Beck in London, so he's not here.
Right.
He's watching, we're told, from the UK. So they came in, the jury walked in, they took their seats. They kind of just looked around slightly, not a lot. And then they just kind of focused on the judge. Judge Ascarati calls the lawyers up. She says, you have to assign damages. I think I can safely say if they didn't assign damages and they were supposed to, they found defamatory statements, right?
Right. That's what we have been saying, and Linda agrees with you too. Tell me, first of all, who's in the courtroom and the audience? Is it a mix of media and regular people, onlookers? Is it completely packed?
It's not as packed as it could be or as it has been. Like, there have been a lot of days where it's just totally packed. I was sitting next to a reporter from the UK, another reporter from Courthouse News. We were just, we've talked a lot during this case. We saw some of the local, I would call like more local Depp fans here. I didn't see any Amber Heard supporters up there. That doesn't mean there might not have been one or two there, but I did not see them. And, it's just kind of like, I felt like everybody's just kind of sitting there. They're waiting for the
anticipation. Yeah. So it's like almost like a false alarm. I mean, you came back out here. Does that mean you don't think they're going to be back for a bit?
Well, I felt I should come out here, and sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath.
Yeah, and Antoinette has her tennis shoes on, by the way, so she is out running for you guys to get you everything you need to know. And don't forget, it's close to 100 degrees out
Yeah,
there.
it's close to 100 degrees, and I swapped the the sandals for the Brooks sneakers. So, but I ran out of there as everybody else did. Got on the elevator, came out. They obviously have set things up much differently now at the press conference area, and they've put up the I forget what you call them, not barricades, but the little, they set it up so that the attorneys can walk out in a civilized manner and not be swarmed by people.
Right, because they're barricades, because they don't want people rushing them, and those barricades have been set up since yesterday in anticipation.
But this looks like almost like a red carpet or something. This is different than the barricades. This is like in front of the courthouse doors, and it's those things where you can kind of unhook the thing, the little ribbon thing, and you can unhook it. And they have those, and there are fans on both sides. So there are Depp supporters, it appears, on both sides.
Right, and we're showing our viewers that picture outside the courthouse right now. So, and by the way, I just want to say to everyone who's tuned in right now, we've got 2.7 million people watching us on YouTube. Thank you.
My goodness.
Feel free to send in your questions, because while we wait, we want to answer more of your viewer questions. We've got, once again, our all-star panel. Linda Kenny-Bodden's with us in the studio. We've got other guests joining us. Obviously, Aunt Jeanette is here, so keep sending us your questions. questions, and we are here to answer them. Now, it's funny, you say it's almost like a red carpet. These lawyers have really attained celebrity status over the last 6+ going on 7 weeks of this trial. I mean, Camille Vasquez now has fans from all over.
That's
Talk
true.
a little bit about that, about sort of like the status that these lawyers have earned during this trial.
Yeah, and Ben Chu especially and Camille Vasquez have become celebrities. TikTok started making videos about both of them. There have been plenty of moments in this trial that were comical, despite the very serious
It's
subject
taking that
matter
long to
being
go right
discussed. But there have been some amusing moments, and they have become stars in their own right. They've become almost legal superstars. So they've become celebrities. There have been times out here when they've left court where I actually felt a little bit concerned because I felt like even
This is like you like candy. You like sweet? I like sweet and sour. I like sweet and spicy too. Here we go.
All right, Mr. Foreperson, is this the verdict of the jury?
Yes.
All right, is it unanimous?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Jamie?
In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition, quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp. Answer, yes.
Don't cry.
Question, the statement was false. Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp. Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp. Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes.
Her career is over. She done. She can't even
2.
afford to pay $50
As to the
million.
statement appearing in the op-ed entitled A Transformative Moment for Women in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition.
Cussed him out.
Quote, then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
You done, bitch.
Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes.
Watching Amber get taxed.
3. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled A Transformative Moment for Women in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. In the Washington Post online edition. Quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of this statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Ms. Heard's claim against Mr. Depp. 1. As to this statement, appearing in the April 8, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. 2. As to this statement, appearing in the April 27, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt did not do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911, end quote. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Ms. Heard proven by a greater weight of the evidence that question, Mr. Waldman, while acting as an agent for Mr. Depp, made or published the statement? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, the statement was seen by someone other than Ms. Heard. Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false. Answer, yes. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven by clear and convincing evidence that the statement by Mr. Waldman was made with actual malice? Answer, yes. 3. As to this statement, appearing in the April 27, 2020 online edition of the Daily Mail, quote, we've reached the beginning of the end of Ms. Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp, end quote. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $0.
Does either side wish to have the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jamie?
Members of the jury, if this is your verdict, please answer yes. If this is not your verdict, please answer no. Juror number 6. Juror number 10.
Yes.
Juror number 15.
Yes.
Juror number 16.
Yes.
Juror number 22.
Yes.
Juror number 27. Juror number 29.
Yes.
I do find that the jury's verdict is unanimous. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your service in this case. I want to thank you again for your dedication and your hard work during this trial. And I know I speak for everybody here when I tell you that we appreciate your sacrifices and your time and your public service in this matter, okay? So I'm gonna have you go back to the jury deliberation room for one more time, and then we'll release you from there, okay? All right, thank you.
Now see, all them lies, what it come to? Taxation. Gonna tell a man to suck her phallus. She ain't even got a phallus. Weirdo. That's what you get. Flush Amber Turd down the toilet.
All right. Okay. In